Following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys!
This is Cowboys Storyline with Nick Eatman.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to Cowboys Storyline. It's Wednesday, October 16th. I'm Nick Eatman. It is the final show of the week. This is the bye week, of course. Much needed bye week, I think. Yes, definitely needed. Of course, it would be nice to have some football and try to fix this thing sooner than later. But they need some time. Obviously, this Cowboys team needs some time to heal up and fix some of these things, some of these problems that have been occurring, obviously, for this team. 888-855-2297, that's the number to call to hear from you guys. We will have a normal show today. Then we'll be off for a couple days and restart next Monday when we get ready for the 49ers week. So I know there's been a lot of mixing of the shows and the podcast. We tried to get a guest on today. This didn't work in time, but I wanted to get Danny McCray on today. He will be on Monday. Danny McCray will be on Monday's show. We have a nice little friendly wager again between LSU and Arkansas. Hopefully, I will be wearing normal shirts and he will be wearing an Arkansas jersey. If not, I'll be wearing his Danny McCray LSU jersey. So, but either way, it'd be good to catch up with him. And former Cowboys player, a finalist of Survivor, all that good stuff. I could talk to him next Monday. But we have a full show today. Let's get after it. Let's get started here. We got Gary in New Mexico. Gary, what's up?
Hey, Nick. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hey, man, if things don't start getting better quick, Brad Sham's going to start sounding like Bob Uecker from Major League.
That would be awesome. Honestly, that would be cool to listen to.
It would be, man. It's getting bad. So, lot of stuff to talk about, man. And I don't want to take up your whole show, but quick trivia question for you: how many owners have the Dallas Cowboys had?
I don't know. Two,
three. They've had three owners.
Okay.
How many general managers have they had?
I don't know.
Two.
7. Okay.
Two. Tex Schramm and Jerry Jones are the only two GMs in their history.
Yeah.
Clint Murchison, then Bum Bright, and then Jerry Jones are the owners. Jerry's not the best owner in team history. He's not the best GM in team history. And we could talk all day about Jerry, but let's get back to today's team, and let's just look at it as reasonable people, okay? The good, the bad, and the ugly. All right, the good is you're 3-3. You're a game out of first place. You have all of your division schedule left to play with the exception of the Giant game, which you've already won. Mm-hmm. So you're in a good position. And it's not that they lost to the Lions; it's how they lost to the Lions.
That would be
it's not that
ugly.
It's not that they lost to Baltimore; it's how they lost to Baltimore. And Babe Laufenberg likes to say the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior, right? So I don't know. They're getting a lot of good players. Well, good players, that's optional. They're getting some guys back from injury. We got some guys coming back, but the defense wasn't that good before they went out. Yeah. And Dak's not playing good. And here's my biggest problem. All these guys that have gotten these big contracts the last couple of years, none of them are playing up to expectation. They're just not. And that's concerning. So I don't know, man. As a Cowboy fan, standard expectation, we may need to adjust both.
Well, yeah, you should. I mean, you should adjust the expectations. I mean, I think I've been saying that for a while now. Like this is a team that's been fighting to get in the playoffs. I don't know if that's the expectations for most fans. I doubt it because they're still if they don't make it to the Super Bowl this year, then it will be a failure to them. But to me, try to sneak into the playoffs. That's where I think that's going to be a fight just to do that. Because you got to win some home games.
Right. You're right. And expectations right now, I would just be happy if they could hold the team to under 30 points at home.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of a reasonable expectation for now. Here's my thought, and then I'll hang up and listen to you. I think they need to get some consistent. Quit running all these different guys in at running back. Go with Hunter Lippy. Go with Rico Dowdle. Go with a set thing there. And then go with it and quit playing around with stuff. They need to find out who they are and establish something. I'll hang up and listen.
All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think they've done that. Honestly, I think that they've kind of said, all right, we're not doing the Deuce Vaughn thing. I mean, it's they have two running backs. It's Rico and Zeke. I mean, that's their two running backs. Hunter Lipke's not their running back. He's their fullback / H-back tight end guy. I don't think he would be a great option as just a straight running back. At times, yes, he could do it, but I mean, if you don't think Zeke hits the hole quick enough, I mean, that's not what Hunter Lipke does either. But I still think there's a great role for him, and he's been good. I've said it before. I mean, I just think if you're not going to play Dalvin Cook this week, you're not going to see, then I would go and find another practice squad running back. I mean, go find someone from another team, a younger guy, whatever, and try to poach them and see if you can get some juice in here, somebody that can provide a little something. This would be the week to do that. So, but if they're not going to play Dalvin Cook, then I don't see what's the point of keeping him, because they need somebody, something. They need a boost in the running game, and he's a guy that's done it in the past, and they were hoping that Zeke could do that and kind of turn back the clock a little bit, and that really hasn't happened. And maybe it will with Dalvin Cook, or maybe he's finally ready. Who knows? All right, let's go to Carolina in South Carolina. What's up, Carolina?
What's going on, Nick?
How you doing? Should I call you Carolina or call you Mike?
Yeah,
both.
Carolina.
What's up, man?
Man, it hurts, man. I'm hurt right now. I went out to the bar on Sunday around all these, extra fans, Steelers, Eagles, and I had to sit there and take it. And it was
not from the
pretty
Steelers.
Embarrassing, man. Oh, they still had something to say because they were winning at the time.
No.
I told them, I said I don't want to hear.
No.
But I still had to hear it.
You don't hear it from the Steelers fans. Sorry. You as bad as this Cowboy team is, they went in there and beat your ass. So no, you don't hear it from the Steelers fans. No.
Hey, I completely agree.
No, there's an L in Steelers for sure. For sure.
I told them they were talking gibberish. I don't understand.
No.
That was my
comment. And then I'm sure what they did is then they threw like Super Bowl wins or something like that out there. That's usually what happens. People move the target when it comes to that. But no. Anyways,
move the goalposts any chance they give.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, man. I just want to say, man, I was feeling like you, man. How you said I had that feeling. I knew we weren't gonna. Something just told me we're not gonna win this game, man. I knew it. But the way we lost that game, I'm asking you, are you hitting the panic button, man? Be honest with me.
No, I mean, where is that? And what do you do? Like, I wouldn't hit the panic button. I'm not going to. What is that going to do? Like, okay, look, here comes a running back. I mean, like, I don't know. What does that mean? What does that really mean? Like, as far as fans go. Now, coaches, owners, they can change things quickly, and they can make those moves. But I mean, for us, it's not really a panic. I mean, you're a 3-3 team trying to fight to get into the playoffs.
And I thought about that too. I said, well, we're still 3-3, but with a devastating loss like that, it's just like,
yeah,
is this what I'm looking forward to for the next few games? Like,
well,
I got tickets to the Atlanta game, so I got to go watch that in person. So
you get to that'll be a good one. All right. Well, appreciate. Hey, Carolina. The one thing that you can do also is to avoid any of that trash talk. You don't have to go to the bar after the game. Like, you don't have to do that. Maybe you don't have to wear your jersey. I don't know. But
look. You got to be all the way, man, or none, man. That's how you do it, man.
Okay. All right.
You can't have it, man.
All right,
Nick.
Thanks. Appreciate it. I love that. You got to be all the way in. I mean, he's all into the bar. I love it. All right. I'm sure he can handle it. Good stuff. Let's go to Kevin in New Jersey.
Hey, Nick. How are you?
What's up, Kevin? How are you?
I'm doing well. I did it. I finally made it. I've called a few times, but this past week I brought my 4 sons, my whole family down to the game. It was something I've been saving up for a really long time. I brought my sons all up as Cowboy fans, And, sometimes your kids don't wind up being a fan of the team that you like. But in my case, they all root for the Cowboys. So it was really awesome to be able to bring them down. But,
well, I'm sorry that was the experience,
That was the experience. It's really unfortunate. It is what it is. What are you going to do, right? I didn't expect it to be the worst loss that you could imagine, but it probably felt like that. Yeah. And I think what made it even worse was I spent extra for field level seats because I wanted to get down to the field after the game and be able to take a picture with the field in the background with my whole family, and couldn't do it.
Did you get the scoreboard? Don't get the scoreboard in there.
No, not at all. The Lion fans swarmed the field level area, so we absolutely could not get there. Right in front of us was a family of Lion fans that just had the greatest time. They had so much fun.
Yeah.
And we just sat there, and it was pretty miserable. But anyway, I called a week or two ago because I'm also a Met fan. And, back in May, I told you, the fans and the fan base had just given up on the Mets. Mm-hmm. And look where we are now. So, I can't say it's the same because there's something about the Mets, the ownership, Steve Cohen, and they've got this really good manager right now, Carlos Mendoza. So I'm not sure that the Cowboys have those pieces in place to make something special happen toward the end of the season. But at the same time, I call him because as awful as the experience was, Nick, for me to go and to spend as much money and have my kids sit there and just be so upset because it was really disappointing, I'm not going to give up. You know what I mean? I'm still a huge fan. I love the team. I want them to do well. I'm just trying to think, how can it happen? And that was the one thing I was thinking to myself. The Mets got rid of their family-owned ownership, the Wilpons. They brought in, well, they didn't bring in, but Steve Cohen bought the team. And it's fresh. It's new. It's a new approach toward how we can build a championship team. And I would love to see that because it does feel right now like it's getting a little stale with the approach. But, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm calling because I'm still a fan. I'm not giving up. I'm real passionate. It's disappointing. I'm upset. But what am I going to do, right? It is what it is. You never know if they're going to win or lose. You go and you just hope. And so that's my story.
That's all you can do. Yeah, thanks, Kevin. That's all you can really do. I mean, they're not changing ownership. They're not going to change the GM. I mean, they do. The how they handle the player personnel is not what people think. I guess if they think that Jerry just goes and picks all the players and makes all the moves. I mean, I think he's always said it. They collaborate and they debate on things, and then if there's some kind of tie in the room, then he'll break the tie. But it doesn't mean that if he's the only one that thinks that way, that's what they do. I mean, if that was the case, they would never have Zach Martin here. They would have drafted Johnny Manziel. I mean, and there's a lot of other situations like that. So, yes, he's the owner and general manager, but he gets help in how things are done, and I'm sure that there will be changes and tweaks along the way. But you're not going to get that change in ownership and that fresh start and all that kind of stuff. That's not going to happen. They're going to make some tweaks and make some changes here, and as for this year to try to get this thing turned around, and that's what we are. We're here. You can be mad on one day, embarrassed, disgusted, fed up, and then it shifts, it changes, and it goes back to who you are. The Cowboys are your family. That's what it is. I mean, they're your family. They're your family member that you can get upset with and say, I'm done. I'm not going to let him ever do this again, or I'm not going to give this to her. She doesn't have whatever it is. And then time goes in, and then you realize that's your family. That's who you are. And you're not going to abandon them. And then next thing you know, you're like, all right, what time's the game this week? That's the way it works. That's the vicious cycle that we're in. And, it's you can't really change it. All right. Josh in Chicago.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not bad. Yeah, I know people are upset about the comments from Jerry and stuff like that, or the Detroit game. At this point, I'm like, hey, it's time to move on. Fan how you're going to fan, I get it, but I'm here for the roller coaster ride.
Right. Well, and it was a bad one. It was a bad turn,
oh, yeah.
And now it's just kind of stopped for a little bit, which is really scary. That's the part of the roller coaster you don't want. You're just up there, and now it's just stopped. You're like, why aren't we moving? That's what a bye week is, I think. So yeah, the roller coaster is taking a break.
That's right. Yeah. Hey, so I just had a question, and I think this is something that has been kind of going on for a couple of years with Mike. With the run game, one thing I don't understand is why they don't use more sets with Zeke and Hunter Lipke out there together, or Rico and Zeke, or Rico and Hunter out there together. I think they have a lot of potential to cause some mixed matches for the other team's defenses, and they don't really do that much. So I think that's something they need to add into the run game. And I'll hang up now. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I mean, it would have to be Rico. I'm sorry, it would have to be Lipke and Zeke, in my opinion, because somebody's got to block. If that are both not getting the ball, and neither one of them might not get the ball. I mean, it might be a situation where it's kind of a max protection type thing, but you want to have options where the personnel that's on there doesn't completely just dictate what you're going to do. That's why teams love to have really good versatile tight ends, because if you have a good one that can block and catch and make it get open, then you can be versatile. You can do whatever you want. And so if you were to have that and put both of those guys in the game, well, one of them's got to be able to block. One of them's got to be that can stay in and maybe even go out for a pass. That's why you typically don't see that as much. But I think for Lipke being a lead fullback, if he can do that and Zeke run the ball, and then you got a little bit more power. So it's not something out of the ordinary that we haven't seen it as much, but it's not something that I don't think that they couldn't do. And I think they're both versatile enough to do it. So that's not really a bad option either. All right, let's go to Ali in Florida.
Good morning, sir.
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good, buddy. I want to give a shout out to all the storyliner from the state of Florida. You get a lot of phone calls past 2-3 days from Clearwater, Sarasota, Cocoa Beach, Miami, North Florida. I live in Tampa. It's been a hard 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
flooded houses and everything, but we managed to be able to call the storyline. That's our hope.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I don't think anybody loves to win more than Mr. Jones. The man spent the money. He put his best foot forward. Here, there, we all make a little decision here. Maybe we could do it better. But I'll put the responsibility on coaching staff, management, players. That's their job to get this job done. For 5 years, you can ask Jerry Jones more than that. We're all going to look at this guy like he's the problem. Yeah, okay. But at the same time, the man is birthday. Who gives a birthday present to somebody, put a big contract on your table, and you go perform like that? So having said that, you are 100% right, and Captain Rob is 100% right. I listened to Captain Rob second time around yesterday. He has a lot of great points. He said the stuff that we are thinking about it, but sometimes we are shy to say it. But you are also so right, because we don't want to give up the season. We are 3-3. But the writing is on the wall. I will judge it how they're going to perform against the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
So other than that, you have a great show, buddy.
Thank you
for what you do.
Thank you.
And we take it from there.
All right. Thanks, Ali. Appreciate that. I'll say this, and you mentioned it earlier. What you guys are dealing with in Florida, man, I can't even imagine. Be safe for all of you. And it's one of those things where I'm sure it puts things in perspective, and a lot of you have said that being on the show or listening to podcasts and just getting something to take your mind off things is very valuable. I don't know if this week is actually helping or hurting or making it worse. I don't know, because obviously you want some joy out of your team, and it's not really happening. But like you said, there's hope, and it's about the caller that said about, are we hitting the panic button or do you give up hope? And there's, like I'm not giving up. Well, of course not. There's nothing to give up. I mean, this is who we are. This is what we do. We'll be back for the next game, and we'll watch the Cowboys and 49ers. Now, you might change your opinion and your expectations of what you expect, and that's natural. I mean, that happens, good and bad. I'm sure and that can happen with one single play. Think about what your expectations were going into the Lions game, based off the fact that Dak hit Jalen Tolbert on 4th down at the 5-yard line, and they won the game. If that ball slips out of his hands or gets knocked out of his hands, incomplete, they lose the game. Your thoughts are completely different about the entire team and the season based off of one play. And, they didn't fix the problems. Yeah, Tolbert catching that pass didn't fix the problems that they had. So that's just kind of funny how the ball bounces. And this team is 3-3, and, they could be 2-4, maybe, even 1-5. You could make the argument maybe they could have been 4-2. I don't know. That Baltimore game didn't look like a win, but they were close. They figured out a way to make it close. So my point is that it's still, there's a lot of football left. There's no reason to jump off because you're gonna just jump back on. I mean, the ones that are listening now, you're gonna jump back on. Because that's what we are. That's who we are, and this show is for you because you've done it for so long, and you're a Cowboy fan. I mean, this is ride or die. All right, Chuck D in Bridge City, Texas.
Hey, Nick.
How you doing?
Well, you just got me pumped up by your little speech you
Let's
just
go. Let's go, Chuck.
I know. I try to call, not be a downer, because it's easy. I know, but
yeah.
I'm going to just point out that last year we beat the brakes off of the Rams early on, and look, they made it, and they could have easily won the playoff game against the Lions. I mean, they're right there, so things can change quick. And we got to get healthy, of course, and maybe it's taking some time to get used to this new scheme on defense. I understand that, and maybe Dak and CD and the offense can get going, get rolling, get on track. All you can do is hope for that. And either way, I'm still going to watch, and it hurts. But I know what helps is the very next day is listening to all the podcasts I have. It really does help kind of get you off the ledge, I should say.
Well, thank you.
You can't watch SportsCenter because that's not going to help you.
No.
That's for sure.
No, definitely not. But, all right, Chuck. Well, I appreciate it. Hang in there. Thanks for the call. You're a lot like a lot of fans right now, that just kind of just frustrated and you say you don't want to be a downer, but it is. I mean, that's where this team is right now. But there's ways to look at the glass half full and be optimistic about certain things. And to me, it's just there's just a lot of football left. And you mentioned the Rams. The Rams from last year. It's funny you say that. The Cowboys actually are looking at they've looked at the Rams this offseason as what they did last year and said that can happen. The Rams were looking at it like maybe they were gonna kind of look towards the future, but they kept kind of winning. They gelled. They got together and they scrapped their way into the playoffs. And I think the Cowboys are kind of thinking that was what this year's team could be. So expectations are not, to me, they're not as high because, this was 12-5 team 3 years in a row. That's not what this team looks like right now at all. And so, but it doesn't mean that you're out of anything. You can still turn things around. I think there's plenty of time to do it. All right, let's take a break real quick on Cowboy Storyline. Be right back to answer more calls.
Cowboys fans, when it comes to navigating the ever-changing world of tax, your business needs a partner it can trust to tackle even your biggest tax challenges. Ryan is the largest firm in the world dedicated exclusively to business taxes. Our team of tax professionals has local expertise in all areas of tax and can help you uncover savings opportunities you didn't know you had. Learn more about how Ryan can improve your overall corporate tax performance by visiting Ryan.com. Ryan, the official tax partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman of Meat Church here. With football season kicking off, I'm already gearing up to bring the smoker back to AT&T Stadium for some epic tailgates. But with that Texas heat, it's crucial to keep my beer hand cramping cold. That's where Yeti's insulated Colster can cooler comes in clutch. This year, you can even get them with the iconic star engraved on the side. Licensed Yeti Cowboys gear is now available at Stadium Pro Shops, concessions, and on Yeti.com. Check it out today. Yeti, official cooler and drinkware of the Dallas Cowboys.
We got big personalities. We got big hair, big belt buckles. We got fans all across this big state and enemies in every other one. We even got a big star on the 50-yard line. Smirnoff knows football is a we thing, an experience that is best enjoyed together. With good drinks and good folks home or away, we rally together. We cry together. And we always rally cry together because, most of all, we got big love for them boys. Smirnoff, we do game days. Please drink responsibly.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
Go, Nick.
Cowboys Nation, Dallas Cowboys United, presented by Globe Life, is now exclusively in the Dallas Cowboys app. Join the official fan club today to receive access to all new Cowboys drops, feature team news, pre-sale access, fan and kid of the game. Download the app now to join. All right, let's go to Zach in Atlanta. Has been waiting. Zach, what's up, man?
Yo, what's up, Nick? How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, man. I was listening earlier about the, how the schedule could have flipped. Our record could have flipped with the Steelers game if we don't pull that out. And even the Giants game, they had maybe 20 seconds, and there was one pass that failed over our secondary, and it was dropped or something like that. I can't remember, but we could be 1-4 right now. So that is some green grass where we stand, 3-3. And there's a lot of season ahead. But shout out to Carolina coming down to Atlanta for the game. I'll actually be in L.A. visiting some family that week, so I will not be in town. But it's okay. I'm pretty sure I'll catch a game in Nashville or Carolina or Atlanta soon. But it's kind of a bummer. I've been out here for 5 years, born and raised in Austin. For 25 years, went to a few games growing up, and so I haven't been able to check out the Cowboys here yet. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a good stadium. I like their stadium. I like the open press boxes where where you can really hear the crowd and get into it. It should be a good one.
I've been to an Atlanta United soccer game, and that's a rowdy time.
Yeah, well,
great stadium. But if I don't think this team is good enough to make a real run, but if they're going to be scrappy, like we're talking about the Rams, they need to have more one-score games or losses. We're going to lose some more games, but they need to show some more fight and have some kind of character-building performances rather than these just tramplings. So,
yeah, of course,
hoping that we can weather the storm, hang around 500 for a while until we maybe build some momentum and sneak into the wild card.
Yeah.
But we got our division games ahead of us too.
Yeah.
We'll see about Philly and Washington. We really don't know what they are, and so there's still a lot of road ahead of us, trying to stay positive, but going to enjoy the bye week. So all that to say, is this your last show for the week?
For the week, yes, it is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, you've done us well. I hope you enjoy some time off for us. And, man, we'll catch up at the top of the week.
Thanks, Zach. Appreciate that. You bring up some good points, too, like the division. I don't think anyone's going to run away with anything. In the past, the last couple of years, I guess, Dallas and Philly kind of gone back and forth and kind of pulling away from Washington and the Giants. That doesn't seem like that's going to happen this year. And they're going to, they have to play each other as well. So I don't think anybody in this division is going to run away. I don't think the Eagles are that great this year. I don't. I think they seem like they've taken a step back. They've won some games, and I guess they are 4-2. But they've lost. They've had some tough losses there as well. But I don't think they're going to be head and shoulders above anybody. And then of course Washington, kind of hard to figure them out just yet, but so far they look good. Then the Giants are a lot more competitive as well, and we've already seen that. So I do think that those games will be close. They'll kind of beat each other up. That's kind of what you hope for at least, and that's why I think the Cowboys. And I've said this way back when the schedule came out. I looked at the schedule and I was like, if you can have your head just barely above water when you get after the 49ers game, from there you should be able to maybe stack some wins together. Now, some of those teams now look a little tougher, like at Washington looks tougher. Maybe Tampa Bay at home looks tougher, but still, all of these games are winnable games. So I said have your head above water. Maybe they won't. Maybe they'll be 3-4. Who knows after the 49ers? But I think if you can somehow, if you get to 4-4, split these next two games, you've got 4 out of the next 5 games at home. And I know that you're saying, oh, well, that's not good because they haven't won there. I'm sure this is going to get turned around. And, you're playing Philly, Houston, Giants, Bengals. You should win these games. I mean, you should, if you're going to be anything, you should be able to win those. So I think, coming out of this bye, I think they've got to show a lot more toughness, a lot more heart. And, I think that they will. This 49er game is going to be big for that. Dylan in Northport, Florida is next.
Hey, Nick, if the Cowboys are our family, does that make us like distant cousins or something?
Yeah. Yeah, what's up, man? Where's the barbecue?
Well, once my flooding goes away in the backyard, I'll invite you over. How's that sound?
Well, I said it earlier, and I'll say it again. Now, you guys are going through a lot, and I hate that for you. And I hope everyone is safe, and the spirits are as good as they can be.
Yeah, no, all good here. We have a guy, Kyle, who's in our Storyliners group and comes to our chat. He's up in the Sarasota area, and they got a little more tougher than we did. Storm moved north at the last minute, so shout out to him. I know he's doing well, though, and he's good to go, so yeah. All good. So as it pertains to Jerry Jones here, the mob is out, man. It's pitchforks and everything, and I understand why. Like, it's reasonable, but I just wanted to maybe play devil's advocate on this and take a step back and just provide a different perspective. I see this 30 years thing all the time, like we haven't done anything in 30 years. And people got to remember, like, this league was built with parity in mind. Right. That's why the salary cap is around. That's why division winners get the toughest schedule. Yep. If the league doesn't want the Patriots around for 20 years, winning the division it's boring. Like, those 3 teams in the division, they have no chance, right? It's boring. They want viewers from all 32 teams, and they build it with parity in mind. So I think it's fair to attack Jerry for a lack of action in free agency, right? It bothered me that we didn't get a defensive tackle this offseason a lot because we were counting on basically Mozzie going into August. And I think this team would look a lot different with there were several competent, middle-priced defensive tackles. We didn't go after that. So whatever, it is what it is, okay? They don't really participate in free agency because they don't want to overspend, right? But let's not pretend that Jerry also hasn't put together, and the front office, Will McClay and Steven and them, haven't put together Super Bowl quality teams over the years too. Like, we've had I was counting today about 9 to 10. So a third of the time that he's been the GM, roughly in the last 30 years, we've had Super Bowl quality teams. That doesn't happen a lot. There's a ton of teams that haven't had that. So I understand why there's so much hate and people are disgruntled with Jerry. But at the same time, it is what it is. I think you said it earlier. It is what it is. He's not going anywhere. Nothing's changing in that regard. The deals are done. Maybe they can participate in free agency this next go around. They have the cap space to do it now, even though they paid their players that ended up opening up some cap space to do that. They haven't shown they want to do that, but maybe they'll change this offseason. Who knows? But, Jerry doesn't get enough flowers out there for what he does positive for the team. I don't think. I think a lot of people harp on the negative, and there's some positive there too. Yeah. I just want to be fair in that regard.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and Dylan, thanks for the call. I think that was, if you listened to the Jerry stuff yesterday, I'm sure, and it's been everywhere. And if you heard what he's saying, that was the crux of it that I took out of it was, don't sit here and tell me all the things we should have done. And just gloss over some of the things that we have done. And that's where it stems back to, if your argument is you haven't won the Super Bowl in 29 years, then you're just, in my opinion, you're just wasting your own time. I mean, then come back when it changes, because you can't win a Super Bowl in October. You can't fix it right now. All you can do is, you say day by day, day by day. But they're getting judged, this team, this franchise getting judged by 3 decades worth of not being able to win the Super Bowl. And Dylan, you're right. I mean, I think his job is to give them an opportunity to go do it. Give them an opportunity to be good enough to go win. And it's not every year. Like you said, the league doesn't allow for that. But, there's been a lot of years where this is a talented enough team to go do it. And, and I think that's where his frustration was and is. But that's life, though. That's life. Go to any restaurant in the world and look at their comments, or online. If you look at it's not going to be, this server was great and the atmosphere is awesome. It's always negative, and that's the way it is. So when you look at the draft, people talk, well, Mozzie Smith. I mean, what's up with Mozzie Smith? Or every time TJ Watt makes a play, they could have got him, but they got Taco Charlton. No one ever comes back and says, like, Tyler Smith, who was ridiculed. I mean, that pick was ridiculed. That might be one of the best draft picks they've ever had when it's all said and done, to get this guy that was just playing guard tackle, and got him from Tulsa and as a project player and look at him now. I mean, but no one says that. No one talks about that of the draft. They talk about the misses. And I think that's where the frustration is. I mean, he had just suffered a really, really terrible loss to the Lions. I'm sorry, that's the Lions. And if we're going to judge a franchise for the last 30 years like we judge the Cowboys for 30 years, because no one thinks the Cowboys have ever been good because they haven't won Super Bowl in 30 years. So they get judged in a 30-year window. If we're doing that, then yeah, that was an embarrassing loss to the Lions, because look at their 30 years. That's my point. That's not the way it is. And I just had this argument 30 minutes ago, and I was told, well, the Lions are good. That's kind of my point. That's my point, though. But no one judges the Cowboys based off of year to year to year, judging them off 3 decades. And I think that's where it gets frustrating. That's at least my opinion there. All right, let's go to Jeremy, Salt Lake City.
Hey, Nick, what's going on, man?
What's up? How are you?
So I'm good. I was just listening, just on the tail end of what you just said. Like, do people realize that we have the biggest winning percentage in the Super Bowl era?
I don't think they care. They do not care. They do not care. That's the problem. They do not care.
But the thing is you are supposed to win games, and we have won more games than any other NFL team in the Super Bowl era. That is not roster issues, okay? The last 30 years have not been roster issues. We've had chances in 2007, 2014, 2016. In the last 3 years, we've had good enough teams to win it all. Now, for whatever reason, we haven't. And you can call it snake bit, you can call it bad luck, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not the whole reason I called. You just made a great point. I had to comment.
All right.
My thing is, do you remember 2010?
Yes.
The Packers game, right?
Yep.
Mike Jenkins. What did we say? Do you remember the term football treason being brought up?
I don't remember that. Football treason. No, I don't
Well,
remember
he whiffed on a couple tackles, made business decisions, whatever, and everybody's like, Mike Jenkins committed football treason. And I'm pretty sure we got rid of him the next year, didn't we? He wasn't long after that.
Yeah. Maybe
but he was a decent corner. But I've seen... And people have been complaining about they didn't want to name names and everything. I'm going to say it. Trayvon Diggs committed football treason, and it's not a good look. And, what really breaks my heart is the guy that called in earlier that saved up for years so he could go see a football game. It goes back to the whole Joe DiMaggio thing. It might be this kid's only chance to ever see me play. Every pro player should have that attitude. And when they don't, and when they whiff on tackles like that and don't, show any fight, that is where I think the fan base feels betrayed, right? And so I'll call out Trayvon Diggs, man. He's got to tackle better, and he's got to cover guys over the formation better. Whenever you take him over the formation, it always seems like he's a yard or two behind.
Right.
And so I'm sick. He got paid, but I mean, I'm not blaming it all on him, but it's just kind of one of those things, right?
Yeah.
And it just irritates me.
All right.
And then I got one more thing before I go. On social media, all across the board, all Cowboys fans, the name is Irvin, Irvin. There's no G.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate it. Let's go to break here on Cowboys Storyline. We'll be right back after this.
Discover Aiden, the official luggage partner of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. Known for top-tier engineering and craftsmanship, Aiden offers more than just bags. Originating from Australia and designed in New York, it merges fashion, design, and culture. Used by Dallas Cowboys players, staff, and the entire organization, Aiden provides style and functionality for all travelers. Visit AidenTheBrand.com and use code AidenXCowboys for 25% off your purchase. Travel like your favorite stars with Aiden.
Alltech Lansing has been perfecting sound since 1927, bringing you decades of audio excellence to elevate your Dallas Cowboys tailgate ritual. Equip your next pregame with the Sound Rover 180 with 6 hours of playtime, built-in microphone, multicolor light modes, and a rugged exterior that's built to last. Visit alltechlansing.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off your Sound Rover 180. That's ALTECLANSING.com/Cowboys15 for 15% off. Alltech Lansing, official audio partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to Cowboys Storyline.
On Wednesday, October the 30th, there is a Halloween-themed event sponsored by Nuna. It'll be a lot of fun for the kids, fun activities and games and treats. Go to thestardistrict.com for more information. All right. We had to take our last break there before Jeremy went on a few rants there. I know Trayvon Diggs is getting a lot of hate here. He's a really good cover corner. That's what he needs to do. That's what he needs to be. Now you need to go up there and tackle. But, I've heard that for years too. For years about Deion Sanders, business decisions and all those kind of things. Cover your guy. Cover your guy. And I know that he got beat on a touchdown. I think he was expecting some help there. He's been really good this year. I mean, I'm sorry. For what he's there to do, he's been really good. Now, they're attacking him. They're attacking the edges on the corners, and that's something that's got to get cleaned up. Al Harris was asked about that yesterday about Trayvon Diggs, and he said it's 11 guys that got to tackle the ball. They got to stop the run, and he's not putting all the blame on him. But I know it's real easy to do that, and that's what happens when you get paid. These guys that they get paid, every single thing is ridiculed. Everything. Diggs now, CD every time. I mean, everyone is reading lips now when it comes to him and what he does on the sideline. Dak, everything. That's been the case for forever. Brandon Carr, he signed a big deal. No one cares about anything that Brandon Carr does other than don't give up big plays, and he needs more interceptions. And I mean, all these guys. Marion Barber was a fan favorite. And rest in peace, Marion Barber, but fan favorite. But as soon as he got the contract and things weren't the same, he got the ridicule as well. Terrence Newman, all these guys. So it happens. It happens, and Diggs is getting it now. But, I really just want to see Diggs and Bland healthy, Deron Bland and a healthy Trayvon Diggs out there on the corners. I think that will change a lot of the defense, and especially if you got some of these pass rushers like Micah Parsons coming back. I think that the defense can look appreciably different just like that. All right, let's go to Brian in Kansas City.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I give you the Mickey Spagnola weather report. It is cold in Missouri.
What's up, Brian? What do you got? What do you got on this Cowboy team?
Well, I was thinking, in kind of adding on to what you were just saying, Troy Aikman got booed in Texas Stadium.
Yeah.
At the end of his career. I mean, fans can be we could be temperamental and passionate and angry and all those things. So and it kind of just sometimes you just lash out at whatever there is. So my curiosity is, going forward, whether it's this year or maybe it's a year, even until the draft process, what do you think, based on the personnel we have now, going forward, what's our biggest point of need? And mine is the one tech. Mozzie may be a depth piece. I don't think he's going to be a starting one tech in this league. He just doesn't seem to quite have it. That's mine. And then I thought instead of throwing out a player this time, I'd throw out, kind of a trivia question, but just an opinion. What was your favorite all-time celebration? There have been so many good ones over the years, the Dirty Bird, the Icky Shuffle. Mine was Butch Johnson's California Quake.
That's the first thing that came to mind.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right, Butch Johnson, California Quake. Yeah, I think that one was pretty good. Some of T.O.'s were really good. T.O. had some good celebrations. Just they were always spot on. My favorite, I'll say this for T.O. is the longest celebration in the history of football celebrations was 7 days. Back in 2008, he scored a touchdown against the Browns. He gets down like Usain Bolt because they had just had the Olympics, and he thought he could be a sprinter like that too. And he gets down and takes off in Cleveland, just takes off right at the line of scrimmage after his touchdown. And then a week later, against the Eagles, he scores a long touchdown from Romo, and he runs and he finishes the race with the lean there at the tape. So it was a 7-day celebration. That's one of my favorites of all time. Sorry, we got to get moving here. I agree with you. Defensive line or offensive line. If you're big and you're strong and you can push people, sign them up. That's who I'm for next year. But still got football to be played. Let's go, Rob in Vegas to finish it off. Rob.
Hey, Nick.
What's up, man?
Hey,
kind of pressed against time today, but what do you got, man?
I got to disagree with my guy Dylan. These weren't Super Bowl quality teams. We thought they were, but if you can't get past the first round, you're not. And until you got to a championship, which we didn't, you're not Super Bowl quality, I don't believe. The only good thing about the heat on Jerry finally is he's made his two best moves since owning the Cowboys when the heat was on. He hired Jimmy because he invested $140 million. And he hired Bill Parcells when he needed a new stadium. Other than that, all these other coaches were retreads or happy to be there guys. So now maybe with the pressure on him, he's going to make a really good head coach decision. And maybe he will change his practices. I don't see him obviously stepping down. But if he doesn't evaluate himself and the way they're doing things after what's happening, then he never will. So, as a fan, we're going to be there every week. You know that. I'm going to be calling in. You're my guy. But it doesn't look good, but we're still going to ride and die with the team. That's just what we do.
Yeah. And you're not just yelling, right, Rob?
No. Just don't, like I used to tell my kids when, I'm not yelling at you. I'm just yelling.
I love it. That's one of the best lines I've ever heard. I love that. Rob, I appreciate the call. And Rob's my guy, too. Everyone knows that. I've seen that on Twitter. Oh, my God, he got into it with Rob. Yes, I mean, of course, that's what happens. Rob's the captain. He can do that, and everybody refers to him. There's a lot of people that do that, and he's not the only one now. Last year, I think you were. This year, there's others that people kind of reference each other and the storyline community that they do on Twitter. It's outstanding, and it really is good because they bring good points to each other, and then they bring them to the show, and maybe vice versa. So it's been good. I kind of agree. I agree with what Dylan was saying about the quality. Are you good enough to be in the equation? These things. I mean, Patrick Creighton catches it or he doesn't. The ball slips through Romo's hand or it doesn't. I mean, it's one thing. The ref comes running in and the Packer game, not that they were going to probably win that game, but you at least want to throw to the end zone. I'm just saying weird stuff has happened that it's just one play here or there. There's 10 teams, maybe not 10. There's 6 teams every year that could get there. And does the ball bounce their way? So Jerry's job is to make them one of those teams, and I think he's done that. So it's easy to say now, well, they didn't win, so you weren't good enough. Cool, you can say that, and you won't be wrong, but I don't think it's wrong to say there's been a handful of teams in these last months, not every year. There's been a handful of teams that the Cowboys I think were good enough to get there, and the players, the coaches, whatever, failed them at times, and just didn't win the game, just didn't win when they were supposed to, or when they could have, not necessarily supposed to, but and for whatever the reason. But right now, the Cowboys are going to have their hands full just to get in the playoffs, just to get in there. That's kind of where they are right now. All right, it's been a good week, a short week, but we need a little rest up for the bye as well. This is our last show for the Cowboys storyline. It's not my last show. I'll be sitting right over here here in about 10 minutes for Cowboys break and the mix-up show, our show shuffle that we're doing today. So join us here on Cowboys break here in a little bit, and join us the rest of the shows. Today is the final day of shows here on DallasCowboys.com. So for Chris Beam, I'm Nick Eatman. We'll see you next week on Cowboys Storyline.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys?